Well, one of the things that they've done, Michael, is they have absolutely tried to gut the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They tried to get rid of it through the Supreme Court. That didn't work. And they've been letting companies off the hook, just dismissing cases, not paying fines, and screwing customers, screwing regular everyday workers.
Yeah, and this is, once again, the consequences of elections is something that we warn people about. And what's taking place here is, Donald Trump signed an executive order targeting disparate impact liability as well. So that plays a part in this. The Legal Defense Fund did a press release about the negative impact that this rule change would have, especially on African Americans. And they talked about how this deals with disparate impact, deals with the legal framework that is long served at identifying and addressing discrimination that hides in plain sight, things that are very subtle, embedded in the structures of lending, hiring, housing, education, policing, and healthcare. So this has wide-ranging implications, okay? This also is in that same vein of the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And as you talk about, Roland, defunding Black America. Okay, so this would bring back redlining, which still exists in some areas, right? But this would be catastrophic if this goes through. So this is something else that we have to fight and educate people on. But once again, one of the things that we miss oftentimes is understanding how to assess, to protect gains that have been made. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is something that's very important. No, it's not perfect, but it's been beneficial to African Americans. So when we vote, whether it's for the House of Representatives, for the Senate, for the president, we have to do an assessment, a systems analysis of gains that we have made that are at risk if the wrong people get in power.
Folks, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, founded under President Barack Obama, which is now led by someone titled Project 2025, is proposing a rule change that could quietly bring back modern-day redlining. Right now, banks can be held accountable when their policies hurt Black borrowers, even if they don't admit to discrimination. This new proposal would weaken these protections, making it easier to deny loans and harder for our communities to fight back. This story was done last month. Go to my iPad. This is Reuters right here, where they lay it out. And so it's as a result of an executive order signed by, the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon in chief, Donald Trump. And so, again, look at this here. Requiring companies to prevent discriminatory outcomes in practice encourages favoritism and unfairly burdens them, according to the White House, a position rejected by consumer advocates. So, man, I don't know how many times I can say they don't give a damn about Black people. They don't give a damn about protecting. They say corporations, man, y'all can do whatever y'all want. If y'all want to screw these people, go right ahead. And we gonna let y'all do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they're going to try to do. I think hopefully 28 U.S.C. Section 1981, which protects your rights to contract and to engage in business and to not be discriminated in those contracts, is going to stay on the books. And you can call your friendly civil rights lawyer to file a lawsuit on your behalf, even if CFPB is not going to stand up for you. I mean, from an infrastructural standpoint, this is part and parcel with what we've talked about all night. They're attacking everything and trying to find every way to undermine people's ability to vindicate their rightful claims, right? Where you've gone into a store, you've gone somewhere, you try to get a mortgage, you try to get an auto loan, and the lender has discriminated against you and not against some white person, applying. There actually has to be some kind of recourse, and hopefully with 1981 and some other sections that they'll be able to continue to do that. But this is stupid. I don't understand why you would even want to die on this hill, but we see that Republicans and, the MAGA, all these people are doing everything that they can to erode all protections, unless it's a white guy who's being discriminated against, as we've spoken about earlier in this case.
Well, one of the things that they've done, Michael, is they have absolutely tried to gut the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They tried to get rid of it through the Supreme Court. That didn't work. And so and they've been letting companies off the hook, just dismissing cases, not paying fines, and screwing customers, screwing regular everyday workers.
Yeah, and this is once again the consequences of elections is something that we warn people about. And what's taking place here is, Donald Trump signed an executive order targeting disparate impact liability as well. So that plays a part in this. The Legal Defense Fund did a press release about the negative impact that this rule change would have, especially on African Americans. And they talked about how this deals with disparate impact, deals with the legal framework that is long served at identifying and addressing discrimination that hides in plain sight, things that are very subtle, embedded in the structures of lending, hiring, housing, education, policing, and healthcare. So this has wide-ranging implications, okay? This also is in that same vein of the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And as you talk about, Roland, defunding Black America. Okay. So this would bring back redlining, which still exists in some areas, right? But this would be catastrophic if this goes through. So this is something else that we have to fight and educate people on. But once again, one of the things that we miss oftentimes is understanding how to assess, to protect gains that have been made. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is something that's very important. No, it's not perfect, but it's been beneficial to African Americans. So when we vote, whether it's for the House of Representatives, for the Senate, for the president, we have to do an assessment, a systems analysis of gains that we have made that are at risk if the wrong people get in power.
Well, again, what we see here, they just do not, they believe, Donald Trump and MAGA believes, Coney, that the people being discriminated against are white. And we're not going to offer any protections whatsoever if you're black and if you're brown. We do not care.
It's similar to what we saw with the Black Lives Matter movement. And when we had to counter and say the reason why you can't say all lives matter is because Black people are the ones that are being disproportionately affected. It's similar here. We don't have to say that Black people have continued to be disproportionately affected by illegal financing practices, redlining, not being able to get a mortgage, getting higher insurance rates, getting higher mortgage rates. All of these things have been inherently baked into the American economy. So when we have things like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that are created to help protect, Black and brown people from continuing to succumb to these financial mispractices, and then you have someone like Russ Voigt, who's the Project 2025 architect that's now running this organization, you see that that's been effectively co-opted. But it's extremely important that we realize that without these protections, we're moving back into the early 1900s, into the 1800s, where Black people couldn't get a fair mortgage, when Black people couldn't live in communities with their white neighbors, when Black people couldn't send their students to certain universities. So I think what we're seeing is with this Make America Great Again slogan, they're trying to roll back the times. They're trying to take us back to a time where Black people and white people were not equal in the United States of America. And the more we learn that this is happening, the more we need to be acutely aware of it and put an end to it.
When I say Jim Crow 2.0, that's not an overstatement, Matt. And people have to understand what that means. Again, when you start stripping away the protections, if you strip away protections on voting rights, stripping away protections on civil rights, which both impact economic rights, that's Jim Crow 2.0.
Yeah, it is. And I'm really glad you say that, because I think a lot of times with both the media and people talking about these issues try to compartmentalize them, right? And say the effect of this one law being repealed or rescinded or affected in some way is going to affect this one discrete aspect of life. But the reality is it is a full frontal assault on all aspects of life to make life worse for Black people, by not only devaluing Black people, but by leveraging the infrastructure to put people in on things like the library boards. I mean, we've talked about it here, but it's been a huge issue in this community. The literal library boards, who's sitting on the library board, what book is being put in, all of that is, as Michael always says, it's part of a, Project 2025 and a larger assault on every aspect of it. And I want to correct myself earlier. I said the wrong number. It's 42 USC 1981. But the point is, look, if the judges aren't going to honor the law, if people are going to get the ability to bring non-meritorious cases, including Trump himself bringing an FTCA case for being prosecuted where that case would be thrown out for any other person, it's just a matter of playing the game however you want so that you ultimately win is ultimately what we're seeing. And I think it is going to usher in Jim Crow 2.0. And I think, as I said earlier, it's all the polite society citizens who are on board with that that's making it a much bigger issue, because there's not a moral question in the way it was framed during, I think, the thick of the civil rights movement. There's still the same moral issue, but it isn't being framed the same way by as many people. Because part of it is, you've got all these people at all levels of white society primarily who are on board with this, and they're not seeing people getting hosed down in the streets the same way, but they are seeing people continue to have their rights eroded and continue to have things like redlining happening in 2025. So it's a full frontal assault, and I think we have to look at how all of these parts coalesce together to make a worse quality of life for us.
And again, on this point, I need people to understand what is going on here. And really, I'm talking about folks, y'all got to get this. And we can't just keep just walking around like, all right, man, this really ain't no big deal. Yeah, y'all saying this here. This is what has to be shared. There's a complete downflow to all of this. It's a complete downflow. It goes top to bottom. It goes top to bottom. And if you do not have a political change, which then leads to a judicial change, then you have all of the systems at one time firing against folks. And that's the piece, Win Cooney, I need folk to get. This is happening. The pieces are firing. They're firing. Michael, they're firing. Matt, they're firing. And if you see the attack on the legal, because they want to limit the legal folks from being able to sue, now folks are like, yeah, we can't take that case, because if we take your case, they're going to come after us. They're going to lose our other clients. And so when the lawyers are afraid, when the media is afraid, well, hell, Michael, I don't know who you got left. Who else, beyond legal and media, who really are the watchdogs?
Yeah, well, you have activists, but but
the activists, but media has to cover what the activists do.
The activists do.
Otherwise, you could just be yelling, and then the lawyers also file cases on behalf of the activists.
Right. No, I understand it's all connected. And unfortunately, a lot of activists don't understand how law works, or politics for that matter. Yeah. This is why we have to keep educating people and building power, and also leveraging our economics to enforce our political agenda. So all of this is connected. The tariffs, there was an article from blackenterprise.com that I was reading and that I shared on my social media that deals with how Trump's tariffs have stymied Black business growth. Well, you had Black economic empowerment gurus, or whatever hell they want to call themselves, that were telling Black people, you don't have to vote. You just have to build businesses and do like the Asians do and invest in the stock market or things like this, right? Well, all this is being attacked. The tariffs are drastically hurting African-American owned businesses to the point where they have to shut down. And then you have 8.3% unemployment rate for African Americans, right? We're about to lose 22 million, about to lose the Affordable Care Act subsidies. So there are going to be a lot of black people walking around with no health insurance, okay, as well as white people. It's going to devastate red America. It's going to devastate these former Confederate states. So we have to understand politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources, and impacts every aspect of our lives. So today's show is like extremely, extremely important. I hope people go research and read these articles that we're talking about and that you're showing, Roland. And I haven't watched the Diddy documentary either. I really don't plan to. I got too much damn research to do dealing with factual things that are happening that are kicking our ass to deal with Diddy or 50 Cent.
We literally are facing direct consequences. So I just need people to understand.
Visit my website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can register for this new 10-week online course. So we're going to teach this on Sundays, normally 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're running late today. So as soon as I finish this broadcast, I was going to start the class about 5:30 p.m. today. Because it's a holiday weekend, I'm going to do a quick introduction to the class, so you could join us for that. The class is on sale, $80. You get 5 of my lectures free in digital download format, okay, when you register for this as well. Click right here, register here. You can do debit card, credit card, what have you. If you want to do it through Cash App, send it through our Cash App is here, $ the AHN show through Cash App. You click on the link. It takes you here. And if you send it through Cash App, follow it up with an email. You can email me through the website right here. Contact the African History Network at the top. If you send it through Cash App, follow up with an email. Let me know you sent the registration through Cash App. And this is our official Cash App account, $ the AHN show, SHOW. When you go to it, it'll say, Michael, these are some fake African History Network Cash App accounts. They've been stealing money from us. I'm still trying to get them shut down. Here's our PayPal link right here. Also, okay. So this is African empires, the Moors, and the transatlantic slave trade, 5000 BC to 1800 AD. Okay. So this is a new 10-week online course that I'm teaching. I've been teaching online history classes going back to 2017. And, I put these classes together, put together the curriculum. There are about 200 slides in this class, 80 to 100 articles that we reference, 15 books. You don't have to buy any of the books. I'll show you screenshots of the book as well. The content is PG-13. You can use this with your children, okay? And it's very engaging. It is interactive also. There's a class chat, so you can ask me questions in the class also. You can see me, I can't see you.